what we said. Why would you don't want it by just go by the, well, he served his country, he done a great job, and let it go at that, you know.
Yeah.
But they keep hounding the government, hounding the government. I mean, the Army, send my son home, send him home, but we know that he's all right, and they don't know nothing of what was going on. I mean, they think they know. They think that it's like a gunfight down here in town or something, you know, but
Just wasn't possible.
not impossible. I mean, anybody that gets out of that type thing alive, they're very fortunate. Yeah.
Well, God bless him.
Yeah. Because there's many and many a day that you don't know. You don't know. When I got the night I got shot, the weekday, got 2:30 in the morning. It was St. Lo, right beside it. I was already in France. We was in there pretty good. We was going to take St. Lo the next morning, that coming morning. Well, I heard a burp gun go up down in the one down on the other end. And I told the lieutenant, I said, Lieutenant, they're going to counterattack. Better get ready. And about that time, the artillery come in. That artillery put us all down. We shot a flare up, big light. This light would go back and forth. You would see at least a quarter of a mile from that light that they had it come down, and it's showing them where everything was, you know.
Yeah.
And they had, we was looking across this open field out there that way, and I just burnt that M1 rifle up. I couldn't hardly touch the cylinders to pull the trigger. Pulled it out, slamming clips in from the bandolier,
Mm-hmm.
and they got so close. This buddy, or one that your replacement come in there, he hollered, "Get this one off my back." There's one that got it in there and got him off my back. I turned there and about 4 minutes that pillar, he had that guy on his back, and I turned over there and I shot him off his back there. And when I turned back around this way, here come one right in my face, just like that. I put the gun on him, pulled one off, and he said, right down me. There's two went off my helmet. One hit me here in the arm, and three went through my field jacket. That's how close I was to it. He's right by. I saw nothing but a flame afar. That's all I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I say, when you do something that not protecting yourself, you're trying to help others that way and combat that way. It's all uncalled for. You have to do for yourself. I mean, it is something that it should be trained from the word go, but you train as a group and to take care of one another, but you just can't do it. And a lot of them didn't even know how to carry their rifles, how to fall. You teach them. I mean, they come in there and they say, well, you had training? No training and nothing. I mean, if you ain't got your M1 rifles and stuff, well, you carry it with you, turned out that way, and when you start to fall, you stick the stock to the ground, the rifle, and when you fall, you got your rifle ready to shoot down there. They'd have the rifle up here and lay the rifle on the ground, and the time you get up and pull the rifle around, there's dead.
Yeah.
Just things like that. The training is 100%, and I had the best training we did at 29th Infantry Division. I think they said it was the best group that ever hit the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God bless you.
We did go, we were going to get them. No, think we wouldn't. I mean, we had wonderful bunch of boys. Had 7 of them that followed me for a while, but they finally got knocked off. But something else. I have this girl come in and clean for me every week in here, and she takes care of my clothes and my bedding and stuff, you know.
That's very nice. Well,
The tide was so high that it came up under my helmet. I had chin strap buckled.
mm-hmm.
They come up under and it like to broke my neck. I had to lay out on the beach. I turned the flame tore loose, crawled out on the beach. And I laid there on the beach and I worked and worked and worked and worked and finally got my neck to work. I could go. But I thought, well, I'm finished, you know.
Yeah.
But I lay there and worked and worked and finally I said, I can't give this up. I've got to go. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And because it was so much fire going on, it's all over the top of me there, you know, because I'm down under it here and
Yeah.
still trying to shoot the troops that's coming in. But I crawled around. I had no gun, no nothing, and a soldier had his back to me, and I crawled around there, and I said, saw the gunman there. I said, soldier, can I have your gun? He said, take that gun and shoot every so-and-so that you can get. I crawled around there and looked a bit, and he was just absolutely gutted. His entrance was laying out in the sand. His eyes are solid blood balls. And yet he knew he could talk. Yeah. I had so many good kids like that.
I'm very sorry.
But God had a special job for me. I guess this is it. I know he had something to do with it because I couldn't done it by myself.
Yeah. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start talk about your childhood and where you grew up and sort of carry on from there. So if we could start with your name.
Ernest Thomas Roberts,
Okay. And when's your birth date?
December 19th and 23.
Okay. And which branch of the service were you in?
29th Infantry Division, 115th Infantry.
Okay. And which rank did you attain?
Staff Sergeant.
Okay. And what medals were you awarded?
I awarded all those medals that you can see up here. I forget the names of them all, but
You got Purple Heart, a Bronze Star.
bronze. In fact, there's on that third one there,
Yeah.
the green one there.
The European campaign.
That's a medal that's got 4 bronze stars on it, with one airhead with Omaha Beach, hit the beach D-Day, and those all others is a major engagements. Only give me bronze stars on that.
Okay.
So really, I got 5 bronze stars. If counting the big one and the little ones up there.
Yeah. Okay. And where did you grow up, E.T.?
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I went in service from Seminole, Oklahoma. Yeah.
And you remember growing up during the Depression? And
Yes, I do. I even remember the Ku Klux Klan when they talk about the old Ku Klux Klan. I lived in Pitcher, Oklahoma, and they used to march down the street with pitchforks and brooms and stuff on their shoulders, and had the white sheets on around them and stuff.
wow.
Yeah, I was about 6 years old, 4 to 6 years old, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah. Seen many a day of stuff like that. My dad worked in the lead and zinc mine there, and it blew up and injured him pretty bad, where he had to quit stuff like that, and he went into the butchering business, of meat cutting business, and that's what he did until he died here, not quite a few years ago now. But he worked as a butcher, started in a slaughterhouse and worked up and everything. I had a nice, I was a good athlete. I could play any type of ball. In fact, I used to steer rope. That's me over there with the horses and stuff. I used to steer rope every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Jackpot roping, money, bet a little money on jackpot roping and stuff. And I always was around horses all my life,
Yeah.
you know, and had horses. In fact, I've had as high as 9 horses.
Wow.
And enjoyed life. I have enjoyed life. Good life. Good life.
And do you have any siblings?
No, I got 2 sons that's left. That's what's left out of all my group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got sisters. Yeah, I got 2 sisters and 2 brothers yet with me. I got a brother 86, and a sister 84, and one sister 98, and a brother 90. I think he's 90. Be 97 his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
he was at the General Patton boy. He fought with with General Patton and stuff through there in Italy and Salerno and all through that part there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know. And one time he and I was pretty close together, and we talked about it. And he was in the combat engineers, and I was in the infantry.
Mm-hmm.
And he got blew up. They blew a bridge up. The German blew a bridge up when they was trying to cross it, and he got tore up pretty bad. He's scarred up real bad. I mean, it really tore him up on his right side.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still going good. In 90, well, I think he's 96 or somewhere close to it.
Does he live close by, or is he?
Yeah, he lives in a home, you know, where they take care of him and everything over there. But I mean, he's still got his good senses and you know and everything that way. Is in fact he been walking till this here about a month ago. I talked to him and he said, "Well, they kind of got me in a wheelchair, son." But he said, "Part time." He said, "I can get out of it and walk, but it feels better if they wheel me around now." He said, so he's getting tired.
And can you remember growing up during the Depression, and were there any sacrifices you guys had to make as a family, or?
Well, none. I never had to sacrifice anything because everything was booming at that time in my generation because the oil business was just that's what I was raised in oil fields. And my uncle and all of my kinfolks have worked in the oil fields and I was just a young boy, and they used to have big canvas tents they set up across the field somewhere out in the field, pretty close to where there'd be 5 or 6 oil wells at work, and at lunchtime they'd all go there and they have what they call a cookhouse, and that's where they would have dinner and lunch and stuff, and they had tents set up to where some of the rough decks, you know, stay in tents and stuff that way. And the Seminole, when I first saw Seminole, it was dirt streets, and when I growed up enough to see they had cement streets, and part of it was brick. Still, they had old brick streets down around the railroad station that they put big bricks, maybe 2 or 3 miles of bricks and stuff
Mm-hmm.
around and stuff that way. That it was very interesting but very. I mean, it's hard to understand to see this population today from what it was back then. With school, you go in there, if you got 12, 13 kids in school are with you, why, you know, something, you know.
Yeah.
And, but it's
So what else did you do for recreation, for fun, growing up besides roping?
played ball. I played ball for several different outfits. I used to like to play ball, baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoyed that a lot, and enjoyed going to the horse races. I one time I was a jockey for a little bit. I mean, I like to ride the horses, and it was I still today I watch the races a lot, and I know a lot of the old trainers and stuff that's still going. Some of them today that it's up in their ages, you know, and stuff. So it's been an interesting life. Yeah.
You can, yeah.
I'm gonna go eat tea.
Okay, hon.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I see you, huh?
Okay.
All
Have a
right.
good night. Yeah.
All right.
Bye. Take care.
You too.
Seems very nice.
Yes, she is. She's a nice girl. She's not taking care of herself. She's getting too fat, and as you see, you got a drink in her hand now. You know, and it's the one that type.
Yeah.
That, but she takes care of the elderly people. She took care of my wife before my wife died.
Mm-hmm.
That she'd come here and sit all day with her and take care of her, and just wonderful, wonderful person.
It's very nice.
And she said, "I'll take care of you." But I pay her what I can pay her, you know, and help her because That's all she's got. She works for an outfit and they don't pay her good. I mean, well, when you sign a contract to work for it, you can't. I told her to go individual, go get her license and do it by herself and start her own business. You know, she's very intelligent
Yeah.
and very likable. She tells me that the old people now that she goes to work for, a lot of them, and they send somebody else the next day. They say, no, we don't want her. We want Misty.
Oh.
Her name's Misty. And so send Misty back here. I mean, she's that type of person.
Yeah, they ask for her by name.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
I got a son over there that he lives around the corner over there. Today's his birthday. He's 67 years old.
oh, today's his birthday?
Today's his birthday, 22nd. That's my wife's birthday.
Wow.
She passed away. I was married to her 66 years.
It's a beautiful thing. It was Steve, your son Steve's birthday?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, today's his birthday, 60.
Oh.
And that's when he graduated from high school. 66 years ago.
Wow.
He's got, he went to Bakersfield High School, and he's got the Frank Gifford Award in the shop down there. He's split in, second receiver, and he got Frank give him the trophy for being an outstanding player of the thing.
Oh, great.
I got the two boys, and both of them is both just wonderful, wonderful athletes. That I lucky that way. It didn't cost me no money for their. They both got college educations and both had good jobs. And in fact, Randy just retired this year from college.
Yeah.
I mean, from school. And he and his wife wife is in the Hall of Fame here in Bakersfield, the Bob Elias Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah?
The volleyball coach, yeah. Brooke Roberts.
Wow.
Yeah. And her daughter now is got the team there at Centennial High School, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful little coach. I mean, it just rubbed right off on her and went right on. She's going right on with it, doing just like her mother did. So, and my son, my grandson, Justin Roberts, he works for the city. I mean, he oversees the schools that needs playground equipment and basketballs and stuff that way, that he takes care of all of that. And he's a Point Loma graduate that very, very smart, and he coaches with the Bakersfield the college out there. I mean, he went from the high school to the college of coaching. So,
Oh, great.
and he's got two jobs. He's coaching and working for that too. So he's a wonderful, wonderful kid. I mean, he's a working dude, and he was really a good catcher for Point Loma for 4 years.
Great. And you went to high school. You went to high school in Oklahoma, you said?
I went to from New Lima High School. Yeah. Started high school when went into service.
How old were you when you went into the service?
18 years old.
And did you enlist?
Drafted.
You were drafted.
They drafted you. And I think that should go today. I think every boy that turns 18 today and can pass physical examinations should go in at least have 2 years of good, solid, basic training. And I guarantee you see that the discipline and the goodness will come out in them.
I agree.
They'll stop all that craziness that we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Gangs and this and that. It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And that's really what we have to. The police it'd be just like the police force. That would help them a lot if it all had a little bit of basic training and educations and know how to work with people like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And quit shooting crazy people that don't know any better or knows better and think they know what's going on. That's our problem. We got a guy with a pocket knife going after a policeman, which you know he ain't gonna get nothing but dead.
Yeah.
And stuff this way. We're gonna have to educate. The blacks has got to be educated. Whites, everybody needs an education that knows and loves life, not what you could get out of life. I mean,
True.
but love people and love life. When we left Germany over there, when I left Germany, the people, the German women and young kids swarmed us just like we belonged to them, hugged us and cried and said, "Stay, please don't leave us." And we got in army occupation after that. They'd come in here. The soldiers probably been in the army, maybe 16, 18 weeks, and send them in over there. And they said they just hated that bunch of American people. Said the awfulest bunch there ever was. So that's your difference in what you've been trained and grow up in and today, what we have today.
What you're taught.
You know, I don't think I'm sure that we don't have the good trained soldiers that we had back then as we had in the 40s
Yeah.
and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
We had some soldiers that absolutely were soldiers. They lived the life. They lived it.
Mm-hmm.
But today it's the money.
Yeah.
We were making $72 a month. Now then they're making $600 and $700, $800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So it just ruined the world. It has.
Yeah. And where did you do your basic training?
Camp Walters, Texas.
Okay.
I had 13 weeks in Camp Walters, Texas, and went from Camp Walters, Texas to Camp Shanks, New York, Camp Shanks, New York to England, Glasgow, Scotland first, landed there, and then went into England, and that's where I had 17 months of basic training.
And what do you remember about your training? Anything memorable or?
Well, it taught me that I was, before I got done with it, that I was an Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
That nothing could stop me. I mean, you go on a 25-mile hike, full field pack, full gear, combat pack, and never bat an eye or think anything about it. Pull it off and go on.
Yeah.
Full field packs and stuff that way. That's what I say. We were trained. That bunch of soldiers that hit that beach over there, the first 2 or 3 groups was trained.
Yeah.
But after that, you got in replacements.
This was about 1941.
Yeah.
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 So, do you remember the attack on Pearl Harbor and where you were when that happened.
I was here, let's see, I was in Oklahoma when that happened, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or maybe here in California. I came here in 51. When did that happen?
41.
41? Well,
Yeah.
I was here when the Japs over hit Pearl Harbor in there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend that and when we were in England and training over there, he big Cajun, big nice young man, Cajun that lived in Louisiana, Bass Strait, Louisiana. Real young. I mean, he didn't even look his age. Just he and his mother. He said he lived with his mother. He lost his dad already, and he cried every day about his dear old mother. And that's when I took up with him, and he one day he said, I'm gonna sing you a little song. He said, I thought about it last night and I wrote it up. I said, let's hear it. And he said, December the 7th, 1941. He said the Japs flew over Pearl Harbor, dropping bombs by the ton. He said we sold them on scrap iron by the truckload and the ton, and they returned it to us in blockbusting bombs. He was right. Yeah, and he made that up. He said the Japs are so ungrateful that we do happen to know, but he said a rattlesnake will warn you before you make a blow. In other words, somebody will warn you before they come in and bomb you, but they didn't warn us. They just come in and bombed us.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit more of it that he sang, but what a boy, what a boy. We about D+7. He was about 12, 15 feet from you there.
Mm-hmm.
Band and machine gun fire was really hot, right out in the middle of the field. And he hollered at me. He said, Mo, he said, I'm shot. I said, oh no. He said, yeah. He said, I'm shot. He called me Mo. And I said, where you shot at? I'm shot in the leg. I said, in the leg? I crawled over there by him, and he wasn't shot in the leg. When he fell, when he went down, they take you spread your feet out
Mm-hmm.
flat
Mm-hmm.
to where you know go over the top of you. Well, he had his feet. He had feet, big feet anyway, and that shot his heel off when the rifle shot his heel off. I said, "It's not your leg, it's your foot, son. You shot your shoes even gone off your foot." So, and he said, he said, well, help me. And I said, I can't help you. I gotta go. And they told us to move up, move up, move up, move up, move up. And so that's the last time I ever saw him. I don't know if he got out of there or whatever happened to him after that. I don't know. But I had 17 months with him.
Now, do you remember the day you were drafted?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how you felt? And
You know, I felt, well, I've been drafted. It's a job that has to be done, and I'll see how much I can put into it.
yeah.
I have never been, not bragging, but I have never been a loser, never. I mean, I always had if this guy there can do it, I can do a little bit of it.
Yeah.
If not, as good or better. That's my life history. That if he could do it, I can do some of it too. And he's not going to do it any better or any longer than I can do it. And I boxed. I was a boxer. I boxed when I was in civilian life. I liked to fight the Golden Gloves and stuff that way. I won Camp Walters, Texas. See the belt
Yeah.
on the bottom there?
Yeah.
I won Camp Walters, Texas before I left there. For 13 weeks I was there.
Oh, wow.
And I joined them. They said, well, they got the Golden Gloves going. They said, are you a fighter? I said, yeah, I am. And I said, I want to fight. So I went in there and I had three different, and I drawed the last time fight I had the camp championship. I mean, he won it before me, before I got there. And I took it from him. And so I don't know who's the champ there now.
Nobody took it from you though.
They take it me 'cause I shipped out of there.
So you're still reigning champ then.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a big old boy came in there from New York in Texas there. And his name was Paul Bruce. He was so drunk. He sparred with Max Spellings and Joe Louis and all them big weight guys. He had sparred, he said, with them. And I believe him. I mean, his name was Paul Bruce, and he's about 6'2", 6'4", somewhere in there, big, tall, weighed about 210, 212 pounds, big, great big guy. And he was so punch drunk, he could walk on it. He didn't walk on his foot. I mean, he walked on the ball of his toe, right out on his toes. And he could the more march than nothing in the world. He was that punch drunk. Well, he was in the fights with me over there, and he was a heavyweight. And he drawed before I did that night. He had to fight that night. I fought one night, and he fought next. He fought the first night, and I fought the next night. And this guy come in there, a little bitty guy from Washington D.C. They got 205 or 7 pounds. That weighed about 6 foot tall. Just whipped him so bad that. But he was so punch drunk that I was watching the fight, and he could hit him, and Paul be out here doing this way, and that kid be back behind him, slapping him in the ears. He was that much faster than Paul. And I laughed about it. I told him about that, and he said, "Well, that was a good fighter, wasn't it?" I said, "You better believe that little boy could do some fighting." Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
After your basic training, where you finished in England, you said?
Yeah, we went to Camp Shanks there, and we stayed around there about. Oh, they kind of give us. That's where they give you all your equipment to ship from your combat equipment and everything, your clothing and everything, and that's what they do. And then you ship from there out to make that invasion over there. And anyway, I'd been there for quite a few days, and I was boxing in there, playing around in the gym and stuff with them. And anyway, come time to ship out one morning there, they took them out every day, a load of them. But this time they said we're taking out a big loads and we're clearing the base today. And we all went on the Queen Mary.
Okay.
Yeah, I rode that Queen Mary over to Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from New York. And I said to myself that was a big honor, even to get on that big ship that way. But I had some quite problems in it's not too far out of Youngstown, Ohio. In there, we had little leave that we could go out. And I went to Youngstown there. Not well, it may not have been Youngstown, but the name of it was Youngstown. I don't know if it's in Ohio or not. But anyway, I went there. I met a girl, and we went out a little bit while, and I took her home, and I was coming back, and down the street, walking down the street, and two lieutenants was coming up the street, one little one and one big one, lieutenants, and they were staggering and this and that and drinking and pretty drunk, and I just going on by them, just like a civilian passing nothing like that, and when I started to go by, he said, the little one hit me on the shoulder that way and said, "You don't know the salute officer?" I just turned around and I said, "Sir, officer's out of uniform." He said, "No, you salute officer," and I saw that he was going to hit, so I just punched him and knocked him down. And that big one come down over me that way and grabbed me and pulled my arms around behind me, and that little one got up, broke my nose, both eyes shut. You talk about whooping somebody, but they whooped me real good. And that's, they said, for not saluting the officer, so I guess that's what it's about, but
Yeah.
I just said, well, you're out of uniform, you're drunk and not obeying the uniform that way, and they didn't like it, I guess. But you found some characters in there that really was problem people. Anyway, that.
So where did you go after that?
After New York,
Yeah.
I went to England. And then
But
I went to Plymouth. I went to Plymouth, England. Had basic training in Plymouth, England.
And then following your basic training.
Following that, we got on a little LCIL on there and went to Omaha Beach. Yeah.
For the D-Day invasion.
For the D-Day invasion. They come in there, we went one day we rode in this convoy. We'll probably reach from here to Tehachapi as far as you could see. Army trucks, and you have in the ships in the things was loaded out. You could walk across them from here to Tehachapi. There was that many of them.
So
that harbor was just absolutely you cannot believe. And they had a room. The room is big as this whole park here, practically. And they come in there and they said, "Boys," they said, "well, time has come." This is Dwight D. Eisenhower, your general. See his picture right up there?
Yeah.
He was my general. Dwight, Commander-in-Chief.
He came in and spoke to you direct?
He come in and spoke direct to us. Yeah, and that's something else. When I was at the Rotary Club, they brought me, they said, some guy come up there and give a talk about the way General Eisenhower spoke to the people and his theory of what he said and all of this and that about, over there. And they didn't know that I was one. I sat in there and listened to that, and under my company commander.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that I was a D-Day boy like that in there. And that's when they called me up and I told the lady I was in D-Day, and she said, "Oh, oh, oh, oh," oh," and talked to me a little bit, and then this before that night, and she said, "We're going to have a brunch, and you're going to come up there and stand beside me, and I'm going to read this all off."
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote all that down to what I told her and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and said that this is the boy here that Dwight was his commander in chief, and he knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he told us all exactly when and he said there'll be bomb craters. The beach will be bomb craters in there. He said the first thing you do, hit a bomb crater, get in a bomb crater, and get yourself situated, and go from there. Wasn't no bomb crater there. The bomb craters was 600-700 yards behind the beach.
Mm-hmm.
They missed the beach that much, and well, the beach is so many dead on there that bomb craters wouldn't do you any good anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and the gunpowder in the air was just you couldn't understand it. It'd burn your nose. The gunpowder burn your nose and your eyes so thick that them cannons shooting and artillery and all this gunfire all at once. It just right down and going into a beach like that, just strangle you to death almost.
Now, before we get too far ahead, can we talk about the days leading up to the invasion?
The invasion.
Were you guys training specifically for the invasion?
We trained in specifically SALT training, what we call SALT training,
Mm-hmm.
and it was out in the Lemoores, and they would take us on them little LCVPs and put us in them with the ramp falls in front,
Yeah.
and that's what we train in when they go in, and we'd go in on the sandbar, drop them, and run maybe 3 or 4 miles, go down, pull off a few rounds of ammunition, and you know, or jackrabbit, get up, he was a dead jackrabbit or anything
Mm-hmm.
out there in the moors like where we were at. And then we dig in foxholes, dig foxholes and stay out there 2 or 3 days, and then go back into camp. And we did that several times while I was in there. But every day they'd run us at least 10, 12 miles every day, full field packs and stuff, and digging holes and stuff all the time. You dig. And, but it was very, very, I mean, if you lived through it, well, it was great, and which I did. To talk about it today, I look back and I don't know how I done it myself, but I was pretty forward going. I mean, I didn't want to be beat any way I went, and that, I guess that's what helped carry me through it all. And when somebody was telling me something, I would listen, and I would do it the best that I could do it. And the one little thing about, I was one of the smallest boys in the unit, in our unit, and the commander said, we got anti-tank grenades that needs to be fired. I mean, it's something new. We want to see how they work. And we were out there in the mortars, and there was an old big brick stack out there. And this is something new that they just first brought out, and it was a thing. You just take it on the M1 rifle on the end of it, stick it in there and turn it, and it'd stay on the M1 rifle. And it was heavy. It probably weighed 5 or 6 pounds, if maybe, you know. Anyway, you couldn't hold it this way and come up and shoot. You had to when you got it on there, you put the gun up this way and you come down. When you come down on your target, you pull off and shot the tank grenade.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled that off. I was standing on two ruts of road there. And I stand on the other side and I landed on my back way back here. The recoil of that knocked me that far.
Wow.
But he didn't tell me, he said, don't hold your gun tight.
Yeah.
He just said, just pull down and pull off.
Yeah.
And I had that gun loose. Man, that did not. They asked for a volunteer, and I volunteered to do that. And I sure sorry. I was black and blue for a long time all over my shoulder up there where it like to
I bet.
broke me up. But things like that, they'd ask for a volunteer. I'd like to try it to see how it worked.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the original invasion was supposed to take place
Fifth.
the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got called off due to weather.
The weather, the tide was so high that we stayed out there, and the little tubs we was in would just dance on top of the water.
Mm-hmm.
There was not one soldier on there that wasn't sick, vomited. That boat was full of vomit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we was all sick when we hit the beach. All of us was already seasick.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you got nothing to eat. You got the one meal that you're going to eat out there. Then you're going to hit that beach. You got your rations on your back that you eat when you get in.
Yeah.
We stayed out there one day too long. We was all vomiting, sick, hungry. But when they say ramp down, there's enough of water behind you. You
Yeah.
can't go back.
Right. So the night before the invasion, can you describe a bit about how you felt and what you were thinking maybe? And
It did dawn upon us. We were trained so good that we thought it'd be just another field day,
Yeah.
just go in there and we never realized that the gun emplacements and what we were going into, the big guns and stuff. We was used to artillery and stuff like that, machine guns and motor fire and stuff like that. We was used to, but nothing as big as going into what we went into. I mean, when you see the barrels of them out there like that, it shoot 500-pound bombs at you and stuff like that. They said the shells, some of them weighed 500 pounds that they put out of there. I'm going to tell you something. It'd shake the earth was shaking. I don't know why it even was in the water. It wasn't all shook out of there. But and the smoke it just strangled you to death. But that's another thing. I don't know, even when I went off of there from then on, when I ate or when I hungry, but in the clothes I had on, in that water, I had to swim out probably 200 yards or so, or farther out than that. I don't know just how far it out, where they couldn't come in. The tide wasn't. The tide was up so high that they couldn't get into it, and it was just the water was so bloody and so that it was just, and then you wear them clothes 9 days, the same clothes, and then see how bad you smell and your feet and everything feels like. And they couldn't get you anything up there because it's trying to get this situated where these Germans are all over the world, all over out in there, and you didn't know where they're on this side of you, that side of you, front of you, or where you're at. And it's something to think about. I mean, that there's very few people that ever get to experience anything like that. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
So you were expected to essentially be prepared for 9 days without any replenishment of
Oh
any
yeah,
sort.
we had like me. I had 9 days of rations and stuff that way, and in my pack. See, and I don't know whatever happened to that.
Yeah.
And I had a gun that the rifle I shot. I mean, I had that old gun where I could a rabbit go out through there, and I could kill a rabbit with that rifle. I mean, it was really a good shooting gun.
Yeah.
And the gun I had, I shot and shot and shot it, and it was all right. And when I got into combat in there, quite a ways in there, we were fighting through hedgerow country, and you got cows and everything else in there, you dead horses, you cows and everything, where artillery come in there and kill them. But anyway, there's no cow laying up there, and I thought, well, she don't get killed anyway with the artillery. I'm going to see if I can. My old gun is shooting good, and I pulled down on her, and off she went. And I said, well, it's where I think it is, and and I mean, it's kind of kiddie thinking stuff that way, but in a way that could have saved my life,
Sure.
knowing where I'm shooting and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a.
Now, I understand you came in with the second wave.
Second wave, 8:20 D-Day.
That's what time it was, or
8:20.
8:20.
8:20 D-Day. That's the time that they marked for us to be into there. The assault, the first group hit 6:20
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. With assistant assault, we hit at 8:20.
So
They were going in, and we were right. We're not talking about 2 or 3 little things through there. You're talking about a wave of boats. Of ships and stuff out here in front of you. You got to wait till all that gets out of your way before you can go in there and do your part.
yeah.
And you got guns and ships flying to pieces in front of you and everything else. Private Ryan, it makes me sick to see stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unreal that you could stand up and run across. Anytime you stand up, straight up, carrying a gun down here in your hand, running this way out across the field that way into combat, you are dead. You run with your gun down here this way and be ready to hit the dirt anytime you can. You run over here, you run there, you run here, you run there, and when you go down fast and spread yourself and look around, see where you're at and what's going on. But that's what I'm saying. When you train to do this and do these type of things, and you get a troop that don't know nothing, they'll just stand straight up and go right across there, and you turn around, you ain't got no one out there with you.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
They got killed. Snipers kill you. They had the trees sawed off, setting up. You might be going there at the corner of this hedgerow, great big tree there, and if you look up there in there, there's such a soldier up there in that tree.
Mm-hmm.
I've shot them sitting right up in the trees, sitting up in there, snipers. That you think, well, where'd that shot come from? He's up there sitting up in that tree and nobody see him. They're looking down here for him.
Mm-hmm.
You go up on you, and when before it was over with in the combat, he had 16-year-old, 12 12, 14, 16-year-old kids in foxholes out there with guns. You come up on them fast. They throw their hands away from their gun, lay the gun down, said, "We die for Hitler." What in the world are you going to do? I mean, you hear these people fuss about stuff this way. I mean, I don't know half of their stories, a lot of them. But what are you going to do when you say you die for Hitler? And right in front of you, you could be killed right there in front of you. You can't stand and ask him, to keep asking him to get out of that hole and go to the back, get out of that hole, go to the back.
Yeah.
When he says he dies for Hitler,
Yeah.
you just have to put the lead to him and leave. It's hard to think about.
Yeah.
But that's what goes on in Army and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Not what they got like over there today and this stuff. I don't understand it. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go because it's not a war. It's not fighting. It's not nothing. They don't know how. They can't stand up. You see them running around, fighting around, standing straight up and running around corners and stuff. That's not fighting. Fighting is getting down and going and stand right after it until you get it done.
Yeah.
They probably all get to go back and get in the bed at night and come back out there on front of the day and stuff that way. We never got nowhere, but at night time you went to a hedgerow and you dug you a hole, and that's where you was right there.
Mm-hmm.
Till morning come, or maybe they wasn't going to move that day, make you stay right there, and they would tell you, well, we're moving up 700 yards, or we're moving up so far, and if we had them on the run, so we got them on the run now, we're going to move up sooner. One time we got them on the road like we had them on the run till we got to St. Lo there. Was that it got so heavy and that it was so fighting that we couldn't go. But when I got shot and I started out, I walked out and laid down my gun and walked out there, and I'm just bloody as I could be, and the blood made me sick at my stomach. I mean, I was really sick. And I got back there one hedgerow back when I was going out there. One pulled down on me. German pulled down on me, and I thought, well, here I am. I looked at him like that. He pulled down his gun and went on by. They had done got that far behind us, and I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But they was done behind us that far. Some of them had got back there.
Wow.
And that's what I say about you don't know if it's in front of you or behind you or where.
Yeah.
Especially at nighttime. They come through somewhere at nighttime and they're behind you or in front of you. It's something to think about.
Yeah.
And then try to sleep, try to rest, and go into the bathroom and different things. What are you going to do? You know.
Yeah.
And that's something these people don't think about. What really a hard-bid ship us boys went through with.
Yeah.
I mean, full field, just like you got that pack right there. I had 72 pounds on my back. Just like that. Could you lay down with a 9-pound helmet on your head? You got the M1 rifle here. You got 2 bandoliers of ammunition, canteen of water hanging on your hip, a belt full of shells all the way around you. Crawl in the hole and sleep. I mean, you got your pack on. You got everything on. You don't pull stuff off. You don't know when you're going to counterattack, when you got to move. Get up and move. And they think that's a life. You come around, well, you're hungry. You pulled out that little meat can of potted meat like that and pull the lid off. Take one of them old hard crackers and get you. They had scrambled eggs in one of them. That ham and scrambled eggs was the best one they had. And the old biscuits is about that long, about that wide. That just as you drive a nail with them. And that's what you got in there and you ate with. Throw it away, you're gone. Had a chocolate bar, you had that, and the chocolate bar was what you ate.
Mm-hmm.
That was your meal. And the other one was potted ham. Round can of potted ham. And to me, it was dog food.
Yeah.
Looked like dog food, what it looked like. But it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you had to eat. You'd eat that or starve to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. For $72 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what you got.
Now, what type of instructions did they give you prior to, the landing on the beach? Was there anything they told you, or had that all been done prior to?
That's all been done prior to when they, all in that building, like the White Eisenhower told you what all it would be. It'd be very, very, very hot.
Yeah.
Very, very fortified. Lots and lots of fortified ammunition in there, and in pill boxes.
Mm-hmm.
They just called them pill boxes, and said and gun emplacements. And they didn't say how big or anything this way. Didn't tell us there's a stone wall, or I mean, just lots of gun emplacements and stuff. And they had no pictures of it. But did you ever see the picture of Omaha Beach?
No.
Huh? I think I got a couple of pictures of Omaha Beach. And this one.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you a picture.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That's much stuff, but there's a lot
I'll
of
put this back in there for you. That's all right. Son of mine, he's fixed all that up anyway. Put it up like it's supposed to.
Who thought I had him in there? Yeah. They're around here someplace.
Can I put those back for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take care of it. These go back in there too?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I had pictures of Omaha Beach that was just taken last year. A couple of friends went over there and brought me that pot of sand sitting there.
This right here?
Yeah. Brought that to me and the picture of Omaha Beach and the old pill boxes and stuff is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean the big showed the emplacement, the beach.
You had never been back since?
Never been back.
No.
You know, I'd like to go back, but there's 9,000, I believe in 87 soldiers right there on that beach, buried. 9,000.
Just on Omaha Beach alone?
Omaha Beach alone.
Not including the other?
No.
Oh.
No. It's the most beautiful cemetery you ever seen, and the white crosses. Yeah. And I met a lady at used to be a little store up here, Gottschalk's, that used to be here in Bakersfield here, and I went in with my cap on, my soldier and stuff that way, and she said, "Were you in the Army?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I was in England and made the invasion in France." She said, "I'm from France." She said, "I was a little girl when you was fighting over there." She said, "I was a little girl. I'm from France." And she spoke to me. She said, my people all still lives in France and everything. And said my young brother, he's still living there. And but they took my dad and one of my brothers. The Germans took them and made soldiers of them, and we don't know whatever happened to them. And she talked to me quite a bit that way. And she said, took my name and everything. She said, "You know what?" She says, "I'm gonna write my brother about you, and he will send you some literature of that stuff over there." And I got maps and I got stuff and everything, and he said, "Come over and stay as long as you want to with me and live with me and do what you want to do." And she said that every flag, that he puts a flag on every American grave out there. He does it himself, that her brother.
Yeah. God bless him.
Yeah. So you meet good people, you know, that it means something. But there's so many that I don't know where they, how you ever figured arms and legs and bodies that destroyed as bad as that was. How would you ever put a body together to bury it and say this is so and so or that's so and so, or you know? I mean, just like I say, what they got over, I don't think they got names or anything on them. These soldiers, you know, and that's the best way to do it all, because some of the bodies tore up so bad that you couldn't tell who they were anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if an artillery shell or a mortar shell hits close to you, you're a goner.
Yeah.
There's no ifs and ands about it. That shrapnel will get you.
Now, when you guys were on the boat waiting to come in, and you saw ahead of you what was happening, do you remember
We didn't see nothing. We didn't even know that was happening.
as you were approaching the beach?
You went right in there just like that, and you hear.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting down here.
So you're below.
You're so below. And he's up there like that clock, and you're down here like this coffee table here,
Yeah.
and they're looking right down on top of you. That's the way that Omaha Beach is. You're going into a stone wall, as I say, and about 30 or 40 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not but one way out, and that's around the ends of it. And I don't know about the right end, but the left end had a trail where they went out there, where like I went out. But the other end, according to what I looked at on my thing there, that there was no trail out of there.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. What if they had soldiers going that way and this way, or just all went out the same way? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to go forward. You got cement. You're not going to go forward. You had to go out one way or the other way, and that's where they had you a lot of trapped that way until you got them killed out.
Mm-hmm.
But what I had to that flamethrower, that big gun, the big guns in placement, is get down, crawl up there, and get up there and shoot in there and burn them out of there.
Yeah.
That's what a flamethrower does.
Yeah.
And burn them out of there and get rid of the fire, because the ships and stuff out there was firing. The rocket ships and stuff were firing. You could see that rocket ship just. I can't imagine how many go off at one time. Rockets. And then that ship would go almost underwater and then come back up. And so
That's how
the recoil of it, the recoil of the gun.
Wow.
And when that was all happening,
How
You
you
must
doing?
be Zach.
Yes, sir.
I'm
How
Steve Roberts. Very nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Dad,
Steve.
here's your keys.
okay, thanks.
Okay. You guys don't let me disturb you.
All right.
Have a nice meeting.
Appreciate it. Thanks for.
I'll tell you what, he can take you back to right there on the beach.
That's where we are right now.
All right. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, no worries.
Oh, I reset our appointment for Tuesday at 9:30.
Okay, son,
All right.
thanks.
All right.
It's great meeting you.
Yeah, you too, Zach. Enjoy
Thank-
yourself.
Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. So you said you were carrying a flamethrower,
Yeah.
and when you got off the boat,
When I went off the ramp, when they hollered ramp down, I'm number one. That's to take out the
you're the lead guy.
big guns. I'm the lead man. I go down, never touch bottom. Had to get rid of it. Neck almost broke. Tide come up under my helmet like it broke my neck. And the rest of there, I waited and waited, they were working my head, my neck, trying to get straightened up. And I never saw not one person that I knew after that, until I got up on top of the hill up there, and I finally run across three of the boys that I trained with, and that was it. And then later on, they told us it was just seven got off of it. It was all the rest of them was all killed.
How many else were on there? With you?
278.
And 7 made it off.
Yeah. 278 of them.
And how far did you have to swim till you reached shore?
I said from here anywhere across the street there. It's quite a ways out there. I mean, that's as far as he said he could get in there. I don't. When you you can't make communication with the Navy and stuff. The Army and Navy never did get along at all because they just overrun people. I mean, they brag on, well, when we get you done, we're going to eat some steaks and stuff this way, you know, and we just didn't have any use for them,
Yeah.
you know, and they didn't us either because we was rugged, we was fighters,
Yeah.
and they didn't like the way we run. We didn't like the way they run, but in England, training in England in little LCVPs going in there, they dropped a ramp on a couple of our boys and killed them. That ramp,
Ramp.
they said the ramp stuck, it won't come down. The English didn't like us either. And they's the one that's doing the piloting on the little ship, on the little LCVPs. The English, they call them Marines over there. Anyway, the ramp come down and killed a couple of our boys, and we had live ammunition. We told them, said, before they'd go in there, they would say, the ramp better go down today, or you won't go down either. You won't go away from there either. And we stopped that stuff. The ramp's got to go down. But they did drop the ramps on quite a bit boys and killed them that way. That there's no reason for it. They just,
Yeah.
they didn't like us being in their country and taking their girls and doing this and doing that in a way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just
You said you could smell the gunpowder was.
yeah. The old black gunpowder that they used, the Germans used it, man alive, it strangled you to death. And they even had wooden bullets, a lot of wooden bullets they shot with.
Really?
Yeah. They would splinter, or hit you and splinter and tear you up. The Germans were very well fortified bunch of good soldiers. They would fight you soldiers. And you could not believe such a good-looking people. I mean, you take it and get into a battalion of them and fight and them that way, you find them, when you've seen them dead, it's all about the same size, 6 foot, big, tall, beautiful, blonde-headed. I mean, really good-looking people.
Yeah.
But that's what a man can do for you, like Hitler.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think he got the same thing in Trump today.
Yeah.
I really believe this. That man don't no more care about the people as he's trying to say he wants to be a president. He has the more knowing how to run a country than nothing in the world. He can build a bowling alley or motel or something that way.
Yeah.
But you can't be flying off the handle like he calls blacks and Mexicans thieves and thugs and all that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
No. It was good people. I fought beside the Mexicans. I fought beside the people. They're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're human beings just like we are. And he's just absolutely, well, what he don't need no money. He's got more money he can never use up.
Yeah.
What's he do? He's spending money for himself. There's some of the office write-ups that what he's got some motel somewhere. I believe it's in New York or someplace. My son was reading it. Steve was the other night to me. That he had one motel somewhere. It had like the Korean and the Germans and the all different countries of rooms, was set up with this nothing but what they use over there,
Mm-hmm.
and it cost $2,700 a night to stay in the things with. Plus, then you had to buy your eats and stuff. A Coke was $9 for a bottle of Coke and stuff. This way, everybody should read that about him, and he not only there, he's got them all the scattered stuff all around it, doing the same thing to people, robbing the people in overseas. What do he have? He's got the Chinese making his ties and another outfit making his shirts and stuff that way, that he's operating his steaks and his. The only thing he's got here is that sour winery that he's got somewhere in this country, but and then brag, I got a yacht, and I got this, and I got that, and they know that the 3 contractors that he had turned in his tax. He's got 3 contractors that work for him and built buildings, and he won't pay them.
Yeah.
That's why he won't show his taxes and stuff, because of he's got so many suits against him, but it's not even funny.
Yeah.
That he ain't nothing but a crook. I mean, he is a crook.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know what the truth is.
Right.
And people that wants to vote for him and get him in there, if they do, they're going to be the. You just stop. You and I talking. You can't divide. You can't divide a government. I mean, it's built. The government is built, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're running good. I ain't missing no meals.
Yeah.
I'm not going hungry.
Yeah.
My kids, everybody that I know of is okay.
Yeah.
Why should you change everything up? Get rid of this and get rid of that. Then hire your own bunch of crew to run that. You don't know what they can do and what they can't do. You want to hire your own, your own government that way.
Yeah.
It's the same as saying, I want to be a ruler. You can't. He won't split the country. You can't split this country up the way he wants to do this.
Yeah.
There's no way. If it does, we're in big trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton has been there long enough and in there and took care of enough people, blacks, whites, all colors, Mexicans and stuff, that she knows exactly what's going on in this world, and her husband and her both very intelligent about it, and have done but just like the president we have now, he's done a great job.
Mm-hmm.
He really has. To took over what he took over, a young man that way, and has come, and what's the economy, what 8% labor, that's nothing wrong with that. We have to think about the college kids we got graduating every year. It's got no work to go. They got to go somewhere and work. And we got people that goes from high school into jobs and stuff. That the economy could get bad if you take a bunch of people and put them on like that. The college graduate, thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't got no work. Well, the population is growing. It's fast, and the economy is not growing as fast. The population can. That's what we have to understand.
Mm-hmm.
That we have to take it as it comes, and do the best we can do with it.
Yeah.
Because we are getting very, very populated. That you know that yourself. That it's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, going back to once you reach the beach, once you reach the shore, can you talk about the noise and
Yeah.
how loud it was? And
Uh-huh. Well, I tell you, you don't really. The sound it deafens you, I guess. I mean, when you listen, like you might hear one go off, a big one go off, and that rings in your head, and the other goes off. You don't hear it because you've done. Your head is, and that it is. Then you got the bigger guns, smaller guns, out on each end of the end there where you hit firing at you. But rifle fire and like machine gun fire, you can go out across the field like that, and the first few shots that they fire at you, it's pretty accurate. But as machine gun gets hot and it starts firing, the machine gun will the bullets will get higher, and if you run low and stuff, you're more safe getting down under them. But if you stay down, if you stand up, the machine gun fire is going to get you and stuff. And there's so much like that. And when you hear a shell come in, don't stand there up and listen. Said, I wonder where that's going to. Lay yourself down as flat as you can, and let the shell go off, and lay there for a little bit till you think the shrapnel is quit falling. Because that shrapnel, it's hot as fire. I got hit with a little piece about that big in the back, right there in my back, and boy, what that did burn. Just barely went to the skin, hit the skin. And I'm gonna tell you something. That stuff is hot.
Yeah. Now, how long did you spend on the beach once you got there? What was your path after you landed?
I don't know really how long I stayed on that beach myself. I mean, my neck and all that, I was so much out of it, but I know that it couldn't have been too long. I'd say maybe a couple of 3 hours. And then when I went up and got up on top of the hill with running some more soldiers there, nobody I knew. All I knew, I was there to fight.
Yeah.
And I finally I found the sergeant there, and I said, "Sergeant, what's the deal?" And he said, "We're gathering up the squad right now. We're going to move out of here." And that's where I started then. From there on.
So did you have to crawl across the beach, or were you, like you said earlier, you were running from point to point?
I crawled all the way across that beach till I got to where I could jump up and up that mountain. They do not walk. If you had walked, get up and stand up on that beach, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. If you crawl around on that beach, they're not looking for down on here, these people down here. They're looking out there for something to shoot at out here.
Yeah.
But you stay down under the fire and operate like that, like you should, like that. You can make it through combat.
And once you made it to the top,
that's what I say. I got gathered by a sergeant that I didn't know or nothing about it. No lieutenants, no that way. And he was gathering up a bunch, and we took off from there. And then I don't know. We must have got in there maybe 100, 150 yards or so. And he said, "Well, we got to set up. We got to gather more people." He said, "I got to make a squad anyway," and so we gathered him up, went in there, and fought all that next day, and then fought the next day, and fought the next day in there, and every day was getting new guys coming in, new guys coming in, new guys coming in, and you didn't know what going on. But I hit the beach. I was like a second class private, and when I got D+9, he come to me and he said, "Hey," he said, "I'm gonna have to make you a squad leader. You're a staff sergeant." And he said, "You're battlefield commission. That we'll make you staff sergeant. You have to start leading the squad here." He said, "We had got nobody to go," and so from then on, I led a squad up until I came out.
So how many men were you in charge of?
But that's 17.
17.
Yeah. We usually had it'd be about 6 riflemen, and then one had BAR, and then one at the back end might have a couple of mortar fire that way. And had a scout. You always had scouts, but I was the first scout for years and years. I mean, for the first year or so I was in service, they made me first scout. You go out and draw far if you can, but I found that being a great thing, being a scout, because they're not going to fire on one person. They're not going to shoot one person. You go out there, and I've went many a time out, and they let me through, never hear a shot fired. I can get almost to the next hedgerow, motion for my company to come on behind me. Never in your life heard anything happening like that. Machine gun fire, just everything break loose. I'm down under all of this. That's one thing it brought me through it too. I'm down under a lot of that, see. And that's done over me. I'm done under it, but the ones that's coming, that I said, come on, is getting shot because a bunch of them is together.
Yeah.
They want to shoot it a bunch. They don't want one person.
Right. So you had to abandon all your rations, everything, when you came off the boat. So
I didn't never have any. That's what I said to my assistant.
yeah.
He had all my stuff, and I don't know what happened to him. What he got killed, or I had some beautiful stuff in there for my mother, my father, watches and different things that I had that they sent to me when I was in the Army, and I don't know where any of that stuff ever went. Never did see the boy or not ever hear even his name called after that.
Yeah.
And I thought he was right behind me. I thought he hit the water right, but if he did, I never did see him.
Yeah. So how long from the landing until you had received your gunshot wound? How?
29 days.
It's 29 days.
Yeah. Right this side of St. Lo. In fact, we could see St. Lo. The next, they said we was right at the corner of St. Lo.
I'm assuming you guys walked all that way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We never rode no tanks, nothing that way. We doughboys.
Yeah.
We hiked.
Mm-hmm. You know about how far that was?
No, I don't. But it was. I did hear one time how far that was, but that's something you gauge hedgerows. I don't know how when you go hedgerow, that whole country's hedgerows. Where we was at. I mean, you fought from one hedgerow. I raised up many times, look over a hedgerow and see a German stare at me just like me and you looking together, just like that. seeing him on the other side of the hedgerow, me on this side.
Wow.
Then you don't go back up there again. You don't stick your head up there again.
Yeah.
You move down
Mhm.
and move, and then see what you can get into.
Mhm.
But don't never just jump up there and look around that way. If you do, you're gonna get shot. But ease up there and then don't keep your head long when you're gonna look up over a hedgerow. Don't stand there and try to look around, see what, move yourself around real quick, and then get back down out of the way.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're gonna get shot by a sniper.
Mhm.
And that's what was that you didn't have time to train young soldiers that came in there that had no training like that to understand hedgerow fighting. And in England, see, that's hedgerow country too.
Mhm.
And that's what we fought. That's the reason we were in England fighting that way. That's hedgerow country. Every field that we trained in over in England was hedgerows.
Mhm.
And the only thing we hated them, back in them days, there was no bathroom like you got water and stuff in there.
Yeah.
They had what you call sewer wagons,
Mm.
horse and team, that stuff, and they'd spread that on the field for fertilizer. And that's what we trained in a lot of times.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how sweet it was in training.
Wow.
That's what you trained in, that stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bathroom, no water, no, that's way back in the 40s that way. The water was kind of scarce and
Yeah.
stuff that way. They hadn't got a good grip on it.
Mm-hmm. Now, after you got wounded, how long did it take? You said until you
I
got
went back in 26 days.
26 days later.
Yeah.
And what were you doing? What were you doing during those 26 days?
Stayed in the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, they what they do when you get shot, like you get shot that way,
Mhm.
this material right here is going to go in there too.
Yeah.
It's not going to stay there like that.
Right.
That material's going to go in there. Well, what they do, have to go in there, clean out. They got the things that goes in there and clean out.
Mhm.
For 3 days in a row. That's what happens to you.
Mhm.
And you talk about hurt. Going into a wound that way and then cleaning it out, making sure there ain't nothing in there to set up infection.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they put you in the hospital and keep you that way, but it's to get you. I seen one man was shot 27 times through his body. They had him hanging up in England, had him hanging up with his arms, his legs, and he's draining from his rectum. They had pots and blankets down there, blood dripping that way. Just as live as you and me. He'd talk to you just like we're talking here.
No way.
He was a lieutenant. I could not believe it myself. And you had one over there was shot in the leg, and that's all he would holler all night long. Help, help, and help. I mean, this is what I'd say it.
Yeah.
And this man, he shot all to pieces, and he'd holler at him and said, "Why don't you shut your so-and-so mouth and go to sleep?" Said, "You ain't got nothing to be hollering about." And him laying there just shot all to pieces.
Wow.
And that man had more grit and more crawl than anyone I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if he made it or not, but he was one tough dude.
Wow.
Yeah, one tough dude.
Wow.
They absolutely just riddled him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I seen many one of them was concussion would bust your eyes, and it'd be nothing but blood in your eyeballs, solid blood balls.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them like that, several of them. With concussion, but the first thing would bust their eyeballs. the last soldier that before the war was over with, that I was in Brest in France, in Belgium there, in the submarine base. That's where they sent me, the squad leader there. And I went there and I had this squad, and he said, the lieutenant told me, he said, Sergeant, he said, move these up 700 yards. He said, take the boys and move them up 700 yards, the squad. I said, Lieutenant, I said, that's a hill. You move our boys down there and put them down at the bottom, artillery and stuff. It's going to kill all of them. I said, just don't do that. That's what I called the lieutenants 90-day wonders. You know. Well, all he knew what he read out of the book, not into combat. He's a replacement in the combat. He had never been into combat. And told me to do that. And I said, Lieutenant, I explained to him what I had to say about that, moving them up there. And he said, well, he said that you can't, he said that's an order. He said, if you don't, you take them boys up there and do what I say and report back to me. I said, okay. I took them up there and put them down through there. One old kid that I really did like. He was really a fun going out person that had a good outlook on life. And I took him up there and I went, come back down there and report to him. I said, well, I got them all up there. And I said, I can go back up in a little while, check them out and see how everything's going. I went back up there, 7 of them dead. 7 of them. And this one that I say I liked, he's laying out of his hole, out of the foxhole. And I see that his rectum and his entrails and everything there. And he's laying with his head like this. This leg here was right here on the top of his head, right there. It was his head like this. And he could see, he couldn't see because his eyes was blood balls. But he knew that there was something up there. And he said, Mo, he said, pull my leg off of me. I walked up to him and I said, I just talked to him and see if he was alive. I asked him and he said, yeah. But, he was gutted. And he was hit with that mortar fire. His feet, that leg was blowed up. No boot, no nothing on there, nothing but a sock. And it was laying there. And I caught a hold of that and was going to put it back down. And it wasn't nothing but just like wadded up wet rag. Nothing but blood and mush in it. And I really, really broke down. I just... So I go back and told the lieutenant what I said, what do you think you got up there? You got 3 men left up there. You got 7 of them dead. He said, what? I said, that's right. I said, now I told you that and you don't listen. I said, that's your 90-day wonders. He said, you go up there and report to the lieutenant colonel. I said, I don't want to listen to you. So I go up there to the lieutenant colonel and walked in set my gun down, my rifle down, and went in to talk to him. And he said, well, he said, what are you, little yellow-bellied? I said, what do you got to talk about? You sitting back here in a tent and eating steaks probably and everything, and I'm up there fighting and trying to save your life and mine too, and this and that. And I just made the statement to the lieutenant that the boys was killed, and if he'd listened to me, it would still be here today. And I said, and that's the way I feel about it. I said, that's what I call slaughtering people. And he said, well, he said, you're court-martialed. I said, fine, I don't care. He said, you just go back down there and get back and report back to your lieutenant. And I went back and reported to him, and that's all I ever heard of that. But I never was so disgusted with replacements in my life that didn't know nothing about combat or stuff that come out that way, and take a bunch of men and get them killed off. Didn't
Yeah.
think nothing about it, and you could see that it wasn't about the death trap before they ever got there.
Yeah.
But it was well fortified. Brest was well fortified when I went in there. It was just like making another invasion.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I should never sent me in there after being in combat as long as I had, and then put me down there in that way.
Now, I'm sorry. This was after you got out of the hospital?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the last part of it before the war was over with. Yeah.
So how long after you got out of the hospital was it until the war in Europe ended?
I don't remember really.
Uh-huh.
I never did know. Things were moving so fast that you went on patrol even at night and doing things that when I come back into combat that you just was altogether different thing, and like I say, I'm really, really, really lucky to get out of it alive, and know as much as I know, but
Yeah.
with the leadership that was at the last part of the war that we had.
Now, did you ever have anybody surrendered?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You never did take them prison though, or take them. The only one we'd keep was officers.
Yeah.
They would get you if you shot an officer.
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, the deal was that was told to you. Okay, you got this 5 or 6 men, whatever you got. Take them to the rear back there, and you'll be back in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Take them back there, and you'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's all they tell you.
That's what they tell you, and that was your orders.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go back there and you kill them, and go back up in combat and go on just like another day. And it's just like I've said all my life, and now I'm going to say it. I say it again today. I shot and shot and shot and shot them. I never know that I've killed one of them, and I hope I haven't. I don't know, but I did shoot them. Yeah. But I didn't lay there and stay there and see if they died or what. But I shot them. And I don't want to know. I hear guys brag and come back saying, I killed 17, I killed 20. I don't care nothing about that. I mean, that's something I believe. I had a job to do, and I done it the best I could do. It got out of it alive.
Yeah.
And God bless me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, where were you exactly when the war in Europe had ended? What?
I was in pretty close to Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, in fact, we liberated Belgium in there. They was cleaning up Belgium, the Germans out of there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it feel?
We went through Belgium, Holland, all through them little places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So can you describe the destruction that you? I'm sure that.
You don't see anything but what's in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not sightseeing or anything that way. It's you absolutely just whatever's in front of you. What you can hear going into a little place where you got cows, and what biggest part of them had cows and calves and horses and stuff. They build their barns right next to their homes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, built from the home and build a pig pen right off of the house.
Yeah.
In there. And what you could hear in there when the artillery stopped, you hear pigs squeal and the horses running and stuff this way, but you never paid any attention to it because you knew what was happening. You know, that the artillery, you hear the artillery coming in, and you can hear a 250 shell, the artillery shell, you can hear that thing come in and it'll be whistling. And when you hear whistling, you're okay. But if you hear it go, you better get ready because she's coming down.
Yeah.
But if it's whistling, she's going on further from you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can hear them things in the air coming, the big shells.
Now, did you ever encounter any civilians along your?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you found civilians dead, and you know that couldn't help it.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't help it. War's war, you know, and they're out there in their homes and stuff, and you're fighting through their yards and their barns and all the horses and barns, and you're fighting through all that stuff to liberate them.
Yeah.
They think nothing of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of them was all cleared out and was in a pretty safe place. You know, they knew what was going on and had protected themselves. He said very few. When the war was over, I had a little girl who used to come to the house. I was standing there. I didn't come home for the liberation. They were liberating. We were getting the Russians and the Germans and the Polacks. All out of Germany there. The Polacks and the Russians was taking everything Germany had.
Yeah.
Well, we was trying to take care of Germany. We done finished them. They was cut and dried. But the Russians and the Polacks wanted to take their furniture, take their everything that they had out of their country, and that's what we had: concentration camp of Russians and Polacks and Germans, all in concentration camps, trying to take care of them when the war's over. And I stayed there about 2 months after the war's over of doing that, pulling guard duty on the post offices and pulling guard duty on banks and stuff that way to keep the people from robbing them and doing things that that like the Russians would go into the banks and try to take their money and stuff, and that's what we had to clean up after it's over with. I mean, it wasn't. And that's the reason American has got such a good name, and they hate us, because we will take care of the people that wants to be taken care of. If they don't want to be taken care of, we won't hear anything about them.
Yeah.
But the people that we took care of, you'll hear a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
They really liked us. The Germans really liked us because we did take care of them and liberated them.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Russians and the Polacks would have had that country.
Yeah.
For sure. That's who got all the tank manufacturing and everything that was going on from the Germans. Good, beautiful tank manufacturing and that made the tanks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Russia took them. That's where Russians got all their equipment from Germany, and we're the one that took it over.
And Germany had turned their
Well,
turned their back on.
The Americans give it to the Americans give it to the. They asked for it, and the Americans said, "There it is. We got plenty of our own,
Yeah.
and give it to." 'em.
Yeah.
Then with that line who was it said to tear down that line? President. Well, the president. Anyway, tear down that wall. You remember that?
The Berlin Wall.
Yeah, the Berlin Wall. Well, I was out on that Berlin Wall many a time pulling guard duty, and we would exchange shots with the Russians. And then, I mean, the Russians didn't like us, and we didn't have nothing to do with them. They'd shoot one another then. And anyway, I was pulling guard duty out there, me and another kid, and on the Autobahn it went to Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
And a lady that speaks perfect English came up to me, German, and said, a soldier said, a German Marine robbed me down there. Said the railroad station was about from here. Oh, to that white building is across the street, or maybe a little further from the main Autobahn that runs to Berlin.
Yeah.
And she said he's going to get on the train, that the train's going to come in here, and he's going on the train and he's going to Berlin. And she said, I appreciate it if you would go get my, if you'd help me get my ring, my watch, and my money back from him. And I said, lady, I said, I really can't help you because I'm on guard duty on the post here. And my buddy over there said, go ahead and help her. He said, you go over there and help her and see if you can get her stuff back. And he said, I can take care of this. And so I started over across out there, Ben Hirsch, that went, she's pointing to where he went. There's a bunch of houses, it's like them houses is there. But way down on the corner down there was the train tracks right here, right up here. Well, he starts running across here, comes to the train track, and I saw him. I pulled down and I hollered halt, and he kept running. I pulled down pretty close to his head. I shot at his before you could hear it. And I must have come pretty close to him, and he kept running though. He been over, started running, so I shot him in the hip. He went down out there, and I walked up to him, me and her did, and he pulled the rings off, and took the ring off, and gave her a watch, and gave her money. Well, the train came in at the time, just after that, and he was bleeding like a stuck hog. I mean, he was really bloody. And I said, get up. And he said, I can't. He said, I'm hurt. I said, get up and get on the train. I got him up and walked him down to the train. She could speak German. I told her what I wanted him to do. And she was telling him what I said. And he got him up, and so when they started to get on the train, the conductor said in German, said, no, he ain't going on the train. I said, oh yeah, he's going on the train. She said, the German said, yeah, he's going on this train, yeah. Said they put him on that train and got rid of him. Of course, he could have got me real bad for that. See, I was off duty and everything. They could have got me for that. But I did get her stuff back, and I told her no more something. Probably he's still living with today.
Yeah.
I shot him where it didn't kill him, but it wounded him pretty bad.
Yeah. Now, the days leading up to the end of the war, did you know that it was getting close? The end was near?
No. We didn't know from one day to the next. I mean, you don't never know anything. You don't even know what day it is, what time it is, or nothing. I mean, that's something no watches, no you don't have anything that would draw a light or flash or anything this way. I mean, no watches, no nothing. And we never knew what time it was or anything that way. I mean, you didn't. If you have smoke, why he'd have to get down his foxhole and smoke down under the thing. But I don't even remember even seeing anybody smoking on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never had no problems like that. But if you ever lit up a cigarette or anything that way, you're pretty well gone because they'd sure shoot you.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember where you were when you found out the war had ended?
Yeah, I was in pretty close in Holland, pretty close between Holland and Belgium in there, a little old place. And civilian come to me, he come to us and said that your war is over, your war is over. He speak pretty good English, telling us our war was over. And we didn't believe it until we got up to the company and asked the company, and he said, yeah, it's over with, all but the cleanup.
Yeah.
And they said, that's what we're doing now, going through here cleaning up. And when we get through this, we get into Germany, well, we'll be done.
Yeah.
So we got into Germany in there, and we took over the army occupation then, and they got us two streets of houses to move the civilians all out of them, and the Germans let us live in them. All beautiful homes. Man, I had a nice home and nice big beds and everything. You know, we really lived it up and eating good, and everything, and they treated us so royal, the German people. And I had a little girl come to the house every day. She said, give me she said a chocolate, and we always got D-bar every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I give her a chocolate, and she say, chocolate for Mama, and a cigarette for Papa. And they give us free cigarettes, and I go up there and get a pack of cigarettes from the canteen and say, I'm gonna give them away. I give a little girl a pack of cigarettes, and man, they thought we were the top kings, you know, stuff like that. That little girl had arm off right there. Yeah. I never will forget. Beautiful little blonde-headed girl. Very smart. She could talk English, but a little bit when she'd sit and talk to me a little bit, and then I'd talk to her, and she'd finally say, that so-so, yeah. I seen in a bottle, not much bigger than that bottle is right there,
Mm-hmm.
a fetus in a bathroom in Germany. And it's fully developed. It's legs,
Mm-hmm.
arms, head, ears, fully developed in alcohol.
For what purpose?
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, you see things that absolutely, when you go up in a bathtub full of nothing but heads. Nothing but heads. For the Jews, when the Germans killed the Jews, cut their heads off. There's bathtubs full of heads, and you get through a house and stuff for fighting through. The Jews really, really lost lots and lots of Jews, boy.
Yeah.
They like to wipe the Jew business out. They certainly did. That's what started the whole business, is them destroying the Jews. They wanted to whip the Jews, kill all the Jews out, because, you know, Jews always knew how to put business together and make money.
Yeah.
They didn't like that.
Yeah. So you spent about 2 years,
Had 3 years in the service.
3 years.
Uh-huh.
You remember how you felt when you learned that the war was over?
Yeah, that I was happy in a way I I didn't know what I was going to do or what to do or and put when I started pulling duty over there and guard duty, and I stayed in there, like I say, about 2 months, and I got I was pulling guard duty on the post office, and they had told us, well, said we can't tell you not to fraternize, that means not to talk to the people or anything like that. Said we can't tell you that much because we're under occupation and we have to talk to them. And I got a beautiful little girl coming there that I talked to her and got acquainted with her and her family. And I used to, I had Christmas dinner with them. They invited me to their home for Christmas dinner, and I went to the home. And they took the mother and father of that family, and the Germans took them, and they never know what happened to them. And anyway, this knock come on the door while I was there eating Christmas dinner with them, and the lady, when I'd go in, when she'd take my M1 rifle and set it over the closet there and behind the door, and as soon as the knock come on that door, she'd lock the door as soon as I come in. And knock come on the door, she went and got my rifle and brought me my rifle before they ever answered the door. They thought that much of it. And they still, that day yet, they say there's still a lot of Hitlerism out there that will like to kill you boys.
Really?
Oh yeah, and they would tell us that. Germans would say, yeah, there's Hitlerism out there. They call it Hitlerism, that would like to kill you boys. And they took care of us pretty good. I mean, if they knew it was the one that was going to kill us, they'd sure point him out, And that was great. I mean, when you get in with people like that, why, it's good. We're over there. Them people, I don't think they think anything of us like we're fighting now. That I don't think any of them likes us or anything, likes our money. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Now, were you able to make contact with your family at all during?
Never did from the time I went in until I came out.
Yeah. So they had no idea.
No, like I was going to tell you, and I guess I mixed it up. Anyway, when I was in New York, I had a pass to come home. I had a leave to come home for 7-day furlough.
Yeah.
And the morning that my pass was for me to leave, they come earlier and said, if you can't go on your leave, you're shipping out today. I didn't have no clothes. They hadn't never issued my clothes yet or nothing that way. That said, you got to fill the shipment out. Said some went AWOL. Guys went AWOL, and we got to fill in the shipment. And I said, well, why is it me? And they said, well, because you're the only one that's left. I said, well, it's that way, it's that way.
Yeah.
And I never did see home from the day I went in until I come out.
And what time period was that before the invasion? Was that sort of what led to you being a part of the invasion, or was that just the time prior to?
No, that I mean, what do you mean?
Well, if you had gone home,
Oh yeah, if I'd have gone home, I'd had to, when I went back in there, I would shipped overseas anyway.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but the Queen Mary, it took so many troops that some went AWOL and they wanted to make a full load,
got it.
and so that way I filled in on someone went AWOL,
I understand.
and they give me the name and the guy that went AWOL
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Said if you ever want to look him up, look him up. He's costing you for going home and seeing your parents.
They gave you his name, huh?
Yeah, give me his name and everything. Yeah.
You never looked him up, or?
No, I thought, well, I went overseas.
Yeah. So when did you actually make it back home?
Well, I don't know what year it was. I mean, what time it was. But I came back in to New York, flew in New York Harbor on the John Ericsson, old German ship.
Mm-hmm.
Was a tub. The water would come up over the bow of it and nearly drowned us. And which was back out on that water 17 days coming home. Like killed all of us. Roughest ride I ever had in my life. And I was seasick, and I wouldn't have cared to jumped out in the water, just stayed out in it. That thing, I'm gonna tell you, I never had any such a ride in my life as that. And they had bunks, so it's tied on the wall, ropes up
Mm-hmm.
on that old boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know why they ever put us on something that way to send us back after we'd been through what we had, but that's what they sent us back on. After riding the Queen Mary over there.
And home for you was still Oklahoma?
Still Oklahoma, yeah.
And you remember the day you got back to your home?
No, but they were sure a happy bunch of people there that when I ran my mother and father this year they had sitting in the pharmacy in Oklahoma where I lived there on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
They had that sitting in the pharmacy down there that they see that there. And my dad was a butcher in that town.
Yeah.
And everybody knows who the Roberts was in there. And when I went home, I just swarmed with girls and people that that wanted to know this and wanted to know that. How did you do this? And how you done that? And it was good in a way. In a way, it was bothering to you because you was tired and didn't need nothing that way. I mean, you've been coming out of such a shock that you needed your rest, and try to get a little bit of thinking where you're at and what you're doing, and get back in civilian life again. Instead of just jumping out like they wanted you to jump out and do. And but it was nice. I had a lot of fun. It had a lot of good people, a lot of good looking girls. I've had a good life. I mean, I can't complain about my life. It's been a wonderful life. And I tried to make the best of the best I can make it every day. Every day is a new day to me. I love it, and I love people that's in it and talk to them. And it takes a lot away from my mind that I don't need on my mind.
Yeah. Now, what is the symbolism of the star that's next to the photo there?
This one here,
Yes, sir.
that's the Bon Star up there.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said one of your brothers also served in Europe.
Yeah, two of them.
Both of them did.
Yeah, I had two brothers, two more. One to serve in Korea, the young one.
Oh.
80, he's 86, I think, 84, 80.
Okay.
He served a little bit in Korea, not much. These are just little battles or that way. I don't know what he done over there. But the other one, he's tore up pretty bad. He's at the side of his head, you can see where he'd been hit with that, and then his shoulders all bagged up. He got a pretty good disability check for that from the government because he's pretty well tore up.
Now, was he home? Did he get home before you did, or
Yeah,
after he was wounded? He
he
went back.
he got come back, and they had me and him both missed in action at one time. That they contacted parents, and our parents really didn't know we was alive for about 2 months before we got to come home. And when we got contacted, they said, where you been? Well, and they couldn't believe we were still alive. They had us both missing in action. They thought when I got shot over there that they killed me, but they didn't.
So they were notified that you had been wounded.
Oh yeah, so he's wounded. And
Wow.
yeah, they notify your parents. That's what they do.
And then
It would be a great shock to you, you know.
yeah, yeah. Do you remember the end of the war in the Pacific as well? When the
No, I don't know much about that. My brother, he talked to me a little bit about it. That he said that a lot of the swamp area and the stuff where he had to fight through was pretty bad, but he didn't never have no shooting or anything that way. He combat engineer. He helped build bridges and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he didn't let him see the action like I was in the infantry of fighting around on the front. I mean, like today, it is hard to find somebody that went through that and is still alive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just God's gift. God has a hand in it some way, somehow. There's no other way to put it. Because, man, I heard a minute one of them whistle in my ear.
You said 2 actually went off your helmet.
It was right off the side of my helmet, right there. He had a burp gun, a grease gun. What you see them little guns that the guys carrying out, like the war they got going over there now. They call the burp guns. They call the burp guns.
Okay.
They're just about that long, and they're got a little handle comes out there like that,
Yeah.
and a ammunition magazine about that long. There, just solid shells through there,
Mhm.
and you can just pull the trigger back, and it'll just stay back and do nothing but shoot straight fire. But it's not that accurate, but for close combat like you and I here.
Yeah.
That's what they're for.
Yeah.
Close, and that's what I got shot with. Because he's right in my face. I mean, I saw nothing but a flame afar.
You were real close to him.
Oh yeah, I had my gun in his belly like this here,
Mm-hmm.
and when he opened up, the flame of fire just got me, and I know that there, but I didn't know I was shot. There was another coming over down here, and here I am trying to pull my trigger off, and this this wouldn't work over here. This wouldn't work, and I kept thinking, what's working? Well, once I felt hot blood coming off my hands.
Yeah.
I said, I'm shot.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm shot.
Yeah.
And then a little bit, boy, I did know I was shot.
The adrenaline wore off a bit.
Yeah. That I was, trying to shoot 2 or 3 more of them around there, and I couldn't get my gun and shoot them, and it was just, I can never explain really. That guy, I don't know how he ever got that close to me. But he was almost too close for me to shoot with a rifle.
Yeah.
And I just, how he got over that fast, because I just looked out there not longer there, but my buddy was raising Cain, because that was the one on his back there. And I wanted to help him, and when I turned around to help him is when I got my eyes off in front of me, and it's when I got shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it wasn't for me being there, I don't think I'd have got shot, because I think I'd have got him before he got over that hedgerow.
Yeah.
But things happens that way, I guess. But lucky it was just shot where I was shot.
Yeah.
But it sure made me sick after that. I got sick with blood. I lost so much blood to everything. I was just really sick and weak. That's something I can't understand right there.
Yeah.
What is them buildings and what them cars and stuff they're tearing up got to do with shooting somebody?
Nothing.
Nothing in the world.
No.
Nothing in the world tearing up.
So after you got back, what did you do after you returned home? Did you just take some time to yourself?
I took some time and messed around, and then I went to work, and then I got married, and I went to work for a guy that I'd kind of worked for before I went into the service,
Mm-hmm.
and they put me right to work, and I had it pretty nice for a while, but I didn't like the wages they were paying, and there wasn't enough work, and so I came to California.
And where'd you meet your wife?
Right there, she saw this picture here in the pharmacy there, and as soon as I got home, she come knocking on the door and introduced herself, and they're quite a family in that town, a really nice family, a lot of athletes,
Mm-hmm.
Baseball players, like the cat, what do they call him, the pitcher, and the lots of them. It's pro ball players that's in the family, in her family,
Mm-hmm.
and there was her brother and I got in together. We played baseball then together, and that's the way I got with her. Then got married. And came to California and had a couple of boys out here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have no kids like I'm out here. my mother and father was out here. They lived up Kernville, and so I came out here, and when I used to like to fish that Kern River up there a lot. When I was a pretty good fisherman.
What kind of fish would you
Trout.
catch? Trout.
Yeah, they had a lot of trout. I mean, it's Kern River running all the time. You know, melted snow water.
Yeah.
Really good eating fish out of that. Bishop, I'll tell you, that's the place you want to go to fish. Bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Catch them trout out of them streams up there out of all that snow water off them mountains up in there. It is really good stuff.
Would you a fly fisherman or
Oh yeah,
bait?
no, bait fishing them up there. Yeah, you bait fish up there. You can fly fish, but it's so rough that in them little streams and stuff where you catch them that
It's too rough on the surface.
too rough on the surface to do any work. I mean, you just got to throw it out there and let it go down and
Yeah.
hook him and
Feel a little tug.
yeah.
One thing I would like to ask you is, if you have any advice for my generation, future generations, anything wisdom that you might be able to share. And
You know what? The best that I can see in the young generation, their heads are not screwed on right. I mean, they're just they don't want to work and do and learn a trade or to learn what life is like, is to understand that there has been people that's done things real good and done up to where we are today without thinking it's party time and good time. Charlie's got the blues and all this type of stuff, and live good lives and raise a family and stay with the family, take care of the family. Kids don't ask to be brought in this world. We so many little kids is hungry today because Dad is good time Charlie. He's got the blues. He's going to breed you. He's going to leave. You got the baby. We don't need this type of stuff. It needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
Very, very much in this world. And they get them off of, that would get a lot of women and children both off of welfare and stuff that way if we just stop and make these daddies that gets these women pregnant is to make sure that they feed their kids and take care of her, regardless how many more whoopings he gets, to make sure that one that's got the kids be to take care of. A lot of them leave for, look that good looking little old gal, I'm going to go with her.
Yeah.
Forget her and stuff that way. I don't see it. I've got a family really. I've got 7, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grandkids. And my 2 boys, Steve has got, let's see, 2, 4 kids, and these others has got, see, one got 3, and I got 9 grandkids. Every one of them has been school teachers, took care of kids, raised kids, took in kids, and lived, like I say, take care of one another. It really needs to be done. And make sure not in the right way, not in a way where you got a box sitting over there full of beer and whiskey and wine and all this stuff. Okay, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to leave my 15-year-old and my 16-year-old here. I'm going to Vegas over here and have a little fun. I'll be back in 2 or 3 days. They get in your wine and stuff, and that way and wind up killing somebody in a car wreck or something this way. That's the family's fault.
Yeah.
That's the family's fault for having it in their box and giving it to the kids. But they don't give it, it's there for them.
Yeah.
Homes need to be cleaned up like that, absolutely cleaned up
Yeah.
and stuff. We got too much of it going on.
Sure.
And drugs, the same thing. Is if you, I have a Steve wife with the last wife. He divorced her. He's got 2 boys. Eddie, he's a salesman at General Motors.
Mm-hmm.
And this other little kid, we're waiting on a place to put him into a where he'd be taken care of. He got on drugs. He don't no more know where he is half the time than nothing in the world. 22 years old. Life wasted.
Yeah.
Wasted life. Could talk to you, well-educated kid. Do anything in this world that you want him to do. But he could say no to drugs.
Yeah.
Or still yet today can't say no to drugs.
Yeah.
That's sad. And people live next door to a drug dealer and won't turn him in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to get rid of.
Yeah.
Is the drug. They probably, or don't you think that they will legalize them?
Do I think they
Marijuana?
should?
You think they should?
Well, it's an interesting question because
But I want to hear your appointment because I tell you mine.
well, I do think specifically with marijuana, I think that should be legalized. If you're gonna if you have alcohol that's legalized, I think marijuana provides a lot of medical benefits that a lot of prescription drugs provide, but they don't have the harmful side effects. And there's a lot of people that are locked up in prison for a long, long time, for nonviolent offenses due to, possession of marijuana. There's harder drugs with the cocaine, the heroin, and all that stuff I don't feel should be legalized.
Well, that's where that comes in at. When the marijuana starts, they get on a little bit, something a little stronger. And the alcohol, and you start mixing alcohol, your marijuana, and your cocaine all together,
Yeah.
you're lost loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
If you legalize marijuana, you're going to see more 15, 16, 14, 13-year-old kids that can't even find their way to school up there before they have a snort or two of marijuana.
Yeah.
You're going to find that it will not work. It will not work. It's like alcohol. They can control the smell alcohol.
Yeah.
They can smell alcohol on you, and they'll say, hey, this won't work. But marijuana is a hidden...
Sure, yeah. It's hard to detect.
And it's hard to protect.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that it should not be legalized, because I've seen kids right here from the South High School's right there, just not too far from me here. And I lived there where I could see across the street over when I lived in the mobile home park over there. And I've seen some of them kids that could not walk across the street. They're so hopped up on marijuana already.
Yeah.
First thing you know, the kid is kicked out of school, he's in jail, or he shot somebody or killed somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever took marijuana?
Yes, sir.
I have too,
Yes,
and
sir.
it will make you drunk and ignorant. Won't it?
Yes, sir. Yes. And I also know people who suffer from
Well,
medical conditions.
now,
and-
see, there is another thing.
Right.
But this boy that I'm talking about, this grandson,
yes.
he has didn't have no problems like that. His mother had a throat problem that she drank lye when she was just a small kid. They kept her for 2 years in the hospital, put her a new soffits and everything new
Mm-hmm.
into there. And marijuana would make her feel good,
Sure.
smoking marijuana.
Sure.
But what did she do when this boy here, when my son Steve, when they separated, the boy stayed there with her. Well, he go around and he got marijuana. He started smoking their marijuana and stuff this way.
Yeah.
She went down and got him legalized to where he could legalize smoking. Well, he's out amongst the school. Never did found that he hardly ever went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was out at smoking marijuana and stuff this way. This is what I'm saying about
No,
legalizing.
I agree with what you're saying there. It's not.
It is for a certain amount of certain people.
Sure, absolutely.
Not legalized to where
Right.
the world can have it.
Yeah.
But for doctors and stuff, this way, that legalize it and make sure that it's legalized right and everything,
Regulated.
regulated, I'd be for it.
Yeah.
But opening it up, saying it's just legal, I just say it is one of the worst things they could ever do.
Yeah. No, I mean we have enough alcohol-related deaths in this country.
Every day, the two Arvin kids out there, 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, night before last was killed out there. Speeding, the train thing come up and they went around through it and then took off out through there. He hit a bump and went off and lost control of it, went out and turned over.
No
Neither
way.
one of them a seatbelt, sold them both out and killed them.
Just 2 days ago.
2 days ago. 15-year-old and 6-year-old found out they're drunk.
Not even old enough to drive.
No, drunk.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yes, beer and alcohol is the same another killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You tell me, look at that, you see that little bird out there eating? See that little bird?
Oh yeah.
Them little birds, how in the world can they eat that sugar water and so much of it? But watch that little thing eat. And what in the world keeps them little things alive? You know how fast they are.
That's
don't
a
you?
hummingbird, yeah.
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 Little hummingbirds.
Yeah, their wings. they
Look
go-
how fast you see he's
I
gone.
missed them.
That little thing, I watch him. I like to watch two of them come out there together and remind me of the fighter planes I used to watch
Uh-huh.
in combat.
Yeah.
And man, they get after one another, and here they go.
They
I
start
got a
maneuvering.
story I want to tell you. It was like in Brest where I saw this.
Yes, sir.
That there was there was bombing this Brest up there. Six bombers was bombing, and they was all in position like they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them turn their loose their bombs and everything. They started ACAC. I could see the ACAC. I could see the tracers from the ACAC
Mm-hmm.
was going up. It was hitting some of them and missing some of them, which that tracers are like that. When it gets that high, don't do too much to them. It just, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I see the P-38. You know what the old P-38s are? With the twin fuselage that used to be the
Sure,
old,
yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
Well, that was an escort. He was an escort.
Okay.
And he was the first in there. when that attack started, I seen him taper off like this and go down. He turned her sideways like that, and he ended up, and he went under the gun emplacement and turned it up, went straight up, never did pull it out, knocked the tail off a bomber, run into the tail of a bomber, the big explosion up in it.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is the rest.
I just need to slide through. I got to pick up some medication, and then
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
get out of your way. How's the interview coming? Going good. Fascinating, probably, huh?
Amazing. Amazing man.
I tell you, I can guarantee it.
What you been doing, birthday boy?
Oh man, I tell you what, working on my birthday, I got everything.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You
I
bet.
got all of those. The shop's clean, the pool room's out, all the equipment, everything. That back room's done. The 2 bedroom closets are done.
Good, good.
But you know, you every time you open a drawer, oh no, more.
Yeah,
Every closet you open it and go, oh, it's full.
yeah, yeah.
You forget, you know, I've been there 5 years and I forgot how much stuff accumulates.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I mean, you're looking here at 50 years of more.
It happens quick too.
Yeah.
Wow. Quite a life.
Yeah, I've had a good life. Good, I got good kids, and you know, and that's one thing to be proud of, you know,
Absolutely.
that they're brought up right and taught right. Is to love and let love. Be loved.
That's the important thing, huh?
But yeah, the importantest thing in the world, I'll tell you why. I go into these doctor's office. I had a nurse, the one that put all the needles in me. They 7 days to go to day. He spent 4 hours inside of here. Went in there and cleaned me up and put stents and stuff in me.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady that did all of that stuff, shaved me and did all of the stuff, came up the next morning and fed me breakfast.
Wow.
Well, I just came to get some medication and my back scratcher, and I'm staying over there. We're getting up early and having everything labeled, like you said, for $5, $10, whatever.
Oh. So you'll be back tonight?
No, I'm going to stay over there tonight so that I can hit it real early and not disturb you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Hey, nice to meet you, young man.
Pleasure.
And I'm sure glad you had this opportunity because I tell you what, he's pretty unique,
Absolutely.
as you're finding out.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care of yourself.
Now, I'm not
We'll
going
see-
anywhere.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, this is kind of the first birthday I probably have ever spent at home and not doing
Yeah.
something. Hey, you know what? There's always time to do other things.
Don't forget
Yes,
these
sir.
weed eaters and stuff, though, huh?
No, that's right. He wants to look at them tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he said she fed you breakfast the next morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sweetest, I mean, kiss you on the head 5 or 6 times when you go in for service, you know, and it's very good people in this world, very intelligent people.
Yeah.
It appreciates what you done for them. Not for this generation, but I done it. I mean, for this generation too. But what they can't understand that if it wasn't for the other generation, they wouldn't be here either. And that's what we fought for. Is the other. It's to liberate, to get rid of the Hitler business. I mean, trying to conquer the world. We don't need no conquer of the world. All we know is just good leaders and a good government and people being taken care of like they're supposed to be, and people realize and do what they're supposed to do. I mean, we got too many people on welfare. There's no sense of that. It's like this girl here that cleaned my house.
Yes, sir.
she got in with a Mexican man that I know his father, Joe Barron. They got Barron Auto Shop right there on Union Avenue, right over there.
Okay.
Well, she got in him. He's got two kids. They're 16 and 13 now.
Mm-hmm.
And she, every penny, he that hasn't worked in 16 months.
So she takes
Separated from he's separated from them kids over there. Mexican is not going to go and say, my husband ain't feeding my kids or this, that, because they're afraid to take him to jail.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to hold up for him. Instead of turning him in, make him pay.
Yeah.
Make him pay his way. He's looking her pay his way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's going to have surgery. She took him to Fresno a couple of weeks ago up there, someplace, and he had surgery. I don't know what all's wrong with him. And she takes off of work and spends her money and on guys like that.
Yeah.
And I asked, I said, honey, I said, let me tell you something. I said, he's like a rolling stone. I said, he won't gather no moss.
Yeah.
I said, you have to have something to gather some back what you're putting out.
Yeah.
And you're not getting it there. She said, well, let me say this to Mr. Roberts. She said, I'm going to live my life and live it the way I want to. I said, that's fine, honey. She said, so I won't never say anything to you about it. And I am.
Yeah.
You like I see her getting fat, big, and 2 or 3 times ago when she was here, 3 or 4 months ago when she was here, she said, well, we had a beer. And I said, there's nothing to be proud about that. I said, that's one thing I do hate is if you get started on that, really, you're going to be nothing. And I'm afraid that's part of it.
Yeah.
Her bigness.
Yeah.
That she's on with him and their own beer and
Yeah.
everything else. And she's supporting the build, you see.
Yeah.
But some people that you can't talk to them about it because, I mean, they're good, very, very, very sweet people. But they just can't understand life.
Yeah.
Life. What really life is.
But you have a
And
lot
life
of wisdom.
is what you make it. You
Absolutely.
know that.
Absolutely.
Life is what you can make a bad life or you make a good life. You're the say-so about what goes inside of you or in that, right?
Yes, sir.
You're the man that says what you want to say. Nobody tells you any different. You listen, but you say what you want to say.
Yes, sir.
And that's where life should be.
Mm-hmm.
Not somebody saying what we're going to do for you.
Yeah. Well, I really do appreciate you speaking with me.
Son, I appreciate you. I really do.
Absolutely.
And I hope you do the very, very best.
Thank you very much.
You bet. And when you sell them books, send a couple of bucks out there in the mail to me.
Oh, you'll get them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was joking with you.
No, but absolutely. I'll make
Write
sure.
a good book.
I will do my
And
best.
take that.
Thank you very much for
And
this.
do you want to take that?
If you don't mind.
Huh?
If you don't mind, I'd...
Yeah, I
Okay.
had a bunch of them made,
Okay.
and
Thank you very much.
I sell them for $12.50. But I'll give you that one because you're going to do something, and
I
that's
appreciate
great.
that.
Yes.
And lastly, I won't take up too much more of your time, but I'd like to get a portrait of you and also with you.
Okay.
So if you don't mind.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, so